I've struggled with my own mental health issues, and I went to college and sort of denied that I had depression issues. Nobody talked about it in the late 80s. It wasn't something that folks would stand up on a stage and sing songs and talk about. So I lived with it for a long time, and then I started to realize there was something wrong. Something was amiss. And I was a musician as well, and I was traveling and drinking. And my boy was growing up as I was sort of figuring out that things weren't right in my own mind. And I was watching him start to undergo issues with depression and compulsion as a teenager. And, you know, I was a loving parent. His mother was a loving parent. We were very connected with this young man as he grew. In his final 4 years, from about 18 to 21, I watched him sink very deeply into a profound depression. And this is a young man who was an amazingly brilliant artist, brilliant painter, and had just done work that would blow your mind if you saw it. Absolutely exquisite, detailed, surreal work that was about the sort of demons that he was struggling with. He did treatment, he took meds and went to therapists, developed good relationships with therapists, did everything you're supposed to do, essentially. And then it started to unravel. And I believe that the illness that he was suffering from really took over his mind in the way that sort of spirits take over in mythology. You know, like literally, my son was transformed in front of my eyes in a couple of years. I didn't know this young man. He was probably in early stages of schizophrenia and was having psychotic episodes. And he went into emergency care a few times, a number of times. And unfortunately, you know, all they were able to do for my son was to stabilize him with meds and hope that he was going to continue with his therapist and stay on the medical regimen that they put him on. But he started to lose hope. You know, Molly talked before about that idea of the thing that stands between us as the survivors, as living folks, and those that don't want to be here is hope. It's a really, really, really thin line if you think about it. But it's like the most essential thing that I've discovered in the wake of my son leaving. It got really bad with my son. I mean, it was the last year. I was waiting every day for the phone call to come from his mother. He was living in New York at that time. He was here for a while at the beginning of the Depression, was going to the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, studying art, and he didn't want to be here any longer. He just wanted to go be near his mother and was doing college there. And it started to unravel. There was just no reaching him. We'd talk almost every day, and I remember I was so desperate to keep him here. You know, I would say things like, Daniel, you've read stories of people with terminal cancer. You've studied the Holocaust and people who survived Auschwitz. You know, one of the worst human experiences. People got through that because they had hope. And Daniel said to me, I'll never forget it. He said, Dad, the difference between those people that you're talking about and me is that I don't want to live. And how do you react to that? What can you say to somebody who has given up hope completely? Do you duct tape them to a chair? Do you force feed them medication? I don't think that my son's death was absolutely the only way this story could end. I wouldn't be here if I believed that. I think there were a lot of things that could have been done differently. As a parent, I'm going to spend my whole life wondering what I could have done more to have helped my son. And I know there's research being done now on a number of antipsychotic medications that are helping with people that were like my son. But he didn't want to disappear like maybe, like I'm going to try to commit suicide, I'm not sure I want to be here. He did not want to be here. So when he killed himself, he was so complete and thorough in his method. And I hope if anybody out there is feeling the tinge of wanting to disappear, of losing that grip, it's natural to occasionally think about the possibility of not being here. But remember how many people you are going to affect in your disappearance. My son's death was absolutely the most catastrophic thing that has ever happened to me, to his little sisters who were 12 and 14, to his mother and his stepmother, and dozens of friends when he died talked about how amazing and magnetic and beautiful and wise this young man was. He didn't see that. So if you're sitting here and listening to me now, I would ask you to remember your connection to all of these people, how you affect everyone around you. I'm going to sing a song right now about maybe one of the heaviest experiences in my life, which was burying my son, which should never happen. Parents should never have to bury their children. But what I will say is writing this song was a profound experience for me, being able to talk about his life and his death. I have amazing respect for my son as an artist and as a human being. He was an empathetic, beautiful, beautiful person. And saying goodbye to him was unimaginable and unimaginably painful. But I've learned a lot in the wake of his disappearance from my life. And I've learned how to be happy again. And part of it is by playing music. So this song tells the story about burying my son in the place where his mom last saw him smiling, which was a beach in the Upper Peninsula of Lake Michigan. A small beach in a little town called Naubinway. And she remembered seeing him smile there and said, after we cremated him, that we were going to go there and put his ashes in the water with his sisters, and we did that. It was an incredible day. Driving 500 miles to meet your mother, and you in a bag on the shores of Naubinway. Your sisters are broken, your two mothers frozen. Only 6 months have passed since you've chosen to end the blows of an unbearable world. Now you be a pearl in Naubinway. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I'll bid you adieu, only if we must. A backwards baptism in Lake Michigan, cradle my baby on his deathbed. Sleep, my beautiful son, in the shallows of Naubinway. A fistful of you in your sister's hand, all that was left when they burned your mortal coil at 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The powder was your bones, and all that the spirits in fiery furnace couldn't erase, we would place in Naubinway. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I'll bid you adieu, only if we must. A backwards baptism baptism in Lake Michigan. I cradled my baby on his deathbed. Sleep, my beautiful son, in the shallows of Naubinway. On the next day, we shed tears of jade as the radio played Niagara's cascade. Memories fade on the road from Naubinway. We went through your things and I slept in your bed. I wore your clothes, your spectre shone from the grave. Naubinway. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I bid you adieu, only if we must. A backwards baptism in Lake Michigan, I cradle my baby on his deathbed. Sleep, my beautiful son, in the shallows of Naubinway.
Thanks.